Oh, so that already.
Should we
10 seconds.
I'm gonna get you the white suit for your retirement.
Like to call tonight's Somersworth Planning Board meeting to order. Anna, please call the roll.
Ron LaHoulier.
Here.
Jason Berry.
Here.
Bonnie McNair. Here. Jeremy Rhodes. Chris Horton.
Here.
Mark Richardson.
Here.
John Spleen. George Gilmet.
Here.
David Witham.
Here.
Robert Belmore.
Here.
First item is approval of minutes of February 19, 2025. Anybody have a motion? Motion made by Mr. Berry. Second by Mr. Witham. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Next is committee reports. You have the summary of the land use board reports. Are there any comments by the board? Moving on, city council report. Mr. Witham.
Yeah, real briefly, the various zoning amendments that came through this board at our last meeting had their first reading at the city council meeting this past Monday night. They'll be up for a public hearing and vote at our next council meeting, which will be the first meeting in April.
All right, thank you very much. Stratford Regional Planning Commission update. Mr. Richardson.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. A couple of things have been going on. Again, as the development projects in the 10-year plan and time goes by and new projects are discussed and weighed and everything like that by the commission. And we had the chance to personally put our own weights on 3 projects that are coming down the pike. One is in Farmington, and it involves sidewalks and crosswalks with flashing lights in the downtown area. One is in Durham, which involves a long section of Madbury Road, and that'll be there'll be some widening going on there with bike paths and walkways and that kind of thing to make it easier for people to get downtown from that along that road into the university. The other one is in Newmarket, and again, it's sidewalks and a replacement or repair of a walking bridge that they have down there. So those things are happening. We weighed them individually and submitted our weights, and next month the commission will be looking at them and weighing them as a commission and sending them on to the Department of Transportation. Another change this year, which I find very interesting, is that in the past, when the commissions weighed the projects and then submitted them to DOT, our weight, our collective weight, was considered as 12% of the final DOT score on how they weighted projects across the state. Now that's been changed. It's now 20% for each regional commission. So we have more influence now than we had before, and hopefully those things will, I mean, that's across the state to all the commissions too. So, but it does make a difference. So that's a feel-good thing. We had a field trip to the town of Barrington and had a discussion about how they've been retrofitting and renovating some of their town buildings, considering utilities and the cost of utilities. So that was kind of interesting, some innovative things that they tried, but using some solar in certain areas, but their guesstimates for lowering their electric rates are pretty high. So they're looking forward to some benefit to that in the end. So that was an interesting little field trip out into the region. That's about it.
Thank you very much.
Oh, one other thing I do want to mention, I think I mentioned it before, that I let Michelle know that I'm interested in continuing here on the planning board because my term is coming up, but also interested in continuing at the Regional Planning Commission because my term is coming up there as well. So that all has to be reappointed. And I just want to I'm not sure where it stands right now, but here we have 3 representatives to the Regional Planning Commission, and we only have 2 right now. So there's an open spot, and I guess if anybody wants to be involved with that, let Michelle know, or let the mayor know, or let Mr. Belmore know, or let somebody at City Hall know that you might be interested in sitting at the Regional Planning Commission.
Thank you very much. Eyes on 2030 committee. Mr. Berry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We did not meet. Still looking for direction from the chair when we will meet. So,
Right, thank you. Housing committee. Mr. Horton.
Yeah, thank you. Committee last met in January. All members were in attendance. First item of business was approval of the meeting minutes, which approved. The second item of business was discussion and proposal to amendments in the commercial to allow. Actually, let me back up. Second item was discuss proposed amendments to commercial industrial zone and residential commercial zone to allow multifamily housing in those zones. There was a lot of discussion on it. The committee was in favor of allowing multifamily in the residential commercial unit. I think there was further discussion on the commercial and industrial zone and what that would look like. One of the committee's homework items for that was to look at language and think about what that would look like going forward. Agenda item number 3 was miscellaneous, at which time Mayor Girding had announced that the city of Somersworth has become a New Hampshire housing champion, which allows us to apply for grant money and to enable a more comprehensive zoning changes and updates. So I think with that status, we are opened up to more grants and stuff like that. Meeting adjourned at 6:30. That's all I got.
Thank you. Next item is old business. Is there any old business this evening, Director Mears?
None this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Next, we'll move on to new business. Before we do, if anybody cares to speak this evening, please come up to the podium, state your name and your affiliation or your address, and also speak into the microphone. If you have to stray from the podium, please use the portable mic that is provided. And I would like everybody, if they could, please turn off or mute your cell phones and electronic devices. The first item under new business will be Walmart Stores Incorporated is seeking site plan approval for a building expansion and site improvements on the property located at 59 Waltons Way in the residential commercial RC district, assessors map 37, lot 10, site number 23-2023. Director Mears, anything to add?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This project has gone through 2 site review technical committee reviews, one in January and one in March. The applicant is seeking to construct a 3,200 square foot expansion for a building, and the overall size of the current building is 196,892 square feet, relocate existing utilities and remodel the building facade. The building expansion is to support the online order pickup program. The project also includes parking lot enhancements to widen parking spaces in the front parking lot to mitigate the number of parking accidents on site. So that came out of the site review technical committee. So we're appreciative of them doing that. Property is located in the residential commercial district. Retail use is permitted in this district, and they are asking for 1 waiver. That's why this needs to come before the planning board. Otherwise, it would fall under site review, minor site review. Thank you.
Is the application ready for acceptance?
Yes, the application is ready for acceptance.
Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the application as
Motion made
complete.
by Mr. Horton,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Witham. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion passes. This time I'd like to invite Walmart to make their presentation.
Great, thank you. Greg DeBona here with Buller Engineering, speaking on behalf of Walmart, the applicant. We're the civil engineer who provided the plans and submitted the application. So believe it or not, this project has already been in the works since about 23. Certainly no fault of the city by any means, but when I first filed the application, Walmart was actually coming in with a slightly larger expansion. They were originally asking for about 6,300 square feet. And then soon after we had the initial technical review committee meeting, Walmart on their own decided to actually reevaluate this site as well as many other sites in the region and redetermine what the appropriate size was for this online grocery box. So the intent of this project is really just to improve the current online grocery ordering system that's there today. And what they evaluated and what they came back with was that really an expansion of 3,200 square feet is the appropriate size for this store based on the capacity and what they need and what they project out as the future need. So that took several months waiting for us to hear that feedback from Walmart, so that's why there was a big delay. What it allowed us to do was incorporate all the feedback we got at the original technical review committee meeting into the plans, into the documents, and be able to resubmit really a better project that also allowed really some modifications out in the main parking field, which was not part of our original application, in order to improve the current circulation and performance of the store today in the parking lot. So what I have in front of you, this is just the overall site plan. We submitted this as part of the application. It was one of the sheets in the set. What you see there is the massive Walmart building in the middle, right? That's kind of like that white box. The parking field is to the north, and where the grocery expansion component is going to be is on the right-hand side of the plan, pretty much directly in line with the main entry drive. All that gray hatching you see in the front parking field, that's delineating wider parking spaces. So one of the feedback that we received was that there's actually a very large amount of fender benders that take place in the parking lot when people are just pulling in and out of parking spaces. Currently, the stalls are 9 foot wide, which do comply with code and are pretty traditional. However, we looked at it and said we felt we had a surplus of parking on the site, so we worked with Walmart to say we can widen all those spots to 9.5 foot spaces and basically hopefully alleviate a lot of those little incidents that are happening out there. And even though it does reduce our parking count by about another 40 spaces, we still felt we are more than adequately parked as far as what Walmart wants and what they look for as like their typical ratio out there. So that did change the waiver request. I am asking for a reduction in the ratio to about 1 space per every 254 square feet. The regular requirement's 1 for every 200. Again, that's pretty standard for Walmart. Walmart themselves actually usually prefers us to lay it out with 1 per 250. So right at that 254 is such a nominal distance and nominal ratio change. And also Walmart's 1 per 250 excludes their garden center. But the ratio that we have here, we are parking for the garden center area. So now what I'll do is I'm just going to move to the other sheet, which is a little more zoomed in on the actual pickup improvements. Mic. Yeah, sorry, I'll go back to the mic. I'll go back to the mic and stand here. Pull up the other sheet. So this is just the blow up of the side of the parking lot where the actual addition is going in. You see the light gray hatch box on the base of the bottom right-hand corner. That's the 3,200 square foot addition. The purpose of that box is really for racking and freestanding refrigeration and freezer. So today, when people use the online grocery order process, you place your order online, it goes into the queue. A Walmart employee basically has to take that order walk out to the store, basically walk through the roughly 40,000 square feet of grocery store that makes up the grocery component, shop the way that you and I would shop, and then go back and fill the order and stock it in the back so that it's ready for when somebody comes to the pickup operation, which is currently on that side of the building today. As you can imagine, that takes a lot of time. I mean, if somebody's out there shopping for a pretty lengthy amount versus being able to grab the majority of the most common grocery orders in a very close proximity. So that new box is just going to basically be a back of house grocery store that's only accessible by the Walmart employees. No customers can get back there. There's no customer entry point. There's no customer entry through the back stockroom area. So now when the orders are placed, the employee can basically service probably 90% of that order right within that small box, and then still have to go out to get the obscure things that aren't really ordered every day. And what that's going to do is right now, it's several hours before when you place your order, when Walmart gives you the window to come pick it up. This will speed that up a lot faster, so that maybe you can go and get it within an hour, and that basically kind of giving that service back to the community, to the shopper, of wanting that instant need for whatever it is that they're ordering for grocery. If you've been to the store today, the pickup operation, you're familiar with how it works. You basically pull up to the side parking lot. There's 18 stalls there today. It is currently anchored by that blue canopy structure. Take it or leave it. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I hope you don't like it because it's going away. We're taking that thing out completely. That area that's currently operating for pickup today will just go back to regular customer spaces, because now the pickup operation is going to be further back away from the main centralized intersection there. So the pickup spots are closer to the actual addition space. We are increasing right now. We have 18 spaces. We're gonna go with 27 that's proposed here. Those 27 will also be extra wide. They're 12-foot wide stalls. That also contributes to more of why we're losing some more parking spaces. With the redesign, we were able to reduce impervious coverage. We have some more landscaping area that we are adding back in. We provided an operations and maintenance manual, which, believe it or not, Walmart did not have one on file. There was not one filed with the city under prior application. We fixed that problem. We've also gone through extensive landscape restoration work out there over the past couple years. That's tied to ongoing maintenance and will be continued to be monitored during the installation of this work. And at the end of the day, the whole parking field basically gets reseal coated and restriped. So after we're done with the expansion, it's going to look back to like a refreshed, new, cleaner Walmart parking field. So usually these are really looked at as very positive projects because, again, we're just kind of taking the operation that's already there and improving it and hopefully making it so that it benefits the shoppers, in the city. Like you said, everything is as of right except for the parking waiver. So that's one request that we have. Beyond that, I mean, I could probably go on, but I think I'll just leave it to any questions that you guys have. The rest of the site improvements are pretty minor. There's some little minor utility relocations we have to do, tying in some storm lines, but it's basically taking parking lot and putting a small expansion on top of it.
You all set?
I'm all done. Thank you. Hit the blue twice? Yeah. All right, that way you're not getting blinded by the screen.
At this time, I'll just ask you to sit down for a moment and
Of
open a public hearing. Open a public hearing. Anybody care to comment on this application? Sir?
My name is Bob Grant.
If you want to come up to the podium, state your name and address.
My name's Bob Granicky. I live at 13 Cinnamon Ridge Road. And I was just curious, question for him.
If you want to just speak into the mic.
Sure. How far back does this go? Because I'm directly behind Walmart. Many
Okay.
years ago when they changed it from a regular Walmart to a super center. I didn't realize how close they got closer to me, and I was just wondering, there's probably nothing I can do about it, how far back that is going.
Okay.
You know, the wood line behind Walmart.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I can jump up and answer that. So actually, feel free to look right at the screen here.
Figure it out here.
So this back line in white, that's the edge of the building today. So, and there's a current landscape island that wraps around the side there.
Yeah.
That box is the new addition. So the drive aisle, this is the drive aisle that has the truck access and the truck circulation. And the part.
It's beyond that, so close to the building.
Yes. So if you've driven to the back to the site today, and if
I see it right up my back deck.
yeah, so this will be on the side that currently actually was mostly used as a snow storage bank on that on the back corner of the building, but that is the area where the addition's going to be, and that drive lane that services for the truck circulation now all still stays exactly in the same spot. So we're not going any further. None of that's changing from where it is today.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Yeah, no
How
problem.
long is construction going to take on this? 'Cause
So,
that's another thing. We
yeah.
have to listen to the truck speed.
It's a good question. So construction typically takes about 6 months, and that
Okay.
includes the building renovation and the site work.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Yeah, no
That's my
problem.
question. Thank you.
And actually, I'll add to that, just in case you were curious. Right now, based on the construction schedule, this wouldn't start until spring of '26.
Okay.
So roughly about a year from now is when it would ideally start, assuming it gets approved. Thank you.
Anybody else care to comment? Is there any correspondence concerning this item, Director Mears?
None this evening, Mr. Chairman?
Right, seeing none, close public hearing. Questions from the board? Mr. Witham?
Thank you. As far as this building, given the overall size of the current structure, this is a rather de minimis project. I do appreciate Walmart stores looking to improve the parking field. It is a tight parking field, so I appreciate that. A condition of approval that I think I'd be wanting to see as I've driven the site is improving the various road signage, particularly as it abuts High Street. So as you go in the main entrance, the keep right kind of notification, there's a traffic island. That sign went missing a long time ago. And every now and again, you get someone that's going down the wrong side there. So that needs to be replaced. There's a do not enter sign close to the traffic signal box, which has faded away. That needs to be replaced. There is a Walmart entrance sign at the southerly enter only, closest to the car wash. That was knocked over years ago. It sits on the lawn there still today in a poor shape, so that needs to be replaced. So I guess my general thought is that site signage as necessary needs to be replaced, repaired, upgraded. So I would look for that as a condition of approval, because that too impacts safety traversing the site. So, and I know you're doing a lot of sign work. I saw some of the signage with regard to pickup. So I think what I'm asking for is rather de minimis compared to all of that. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I actually should have emphasized it when I had the other sheet up. You know what? At this scale, it won't even matter. But the point is that one of the things that we do as part of these projects is we also identify all the stop signage and stop markings and basically directional signs and everything else that's either missing or needs to be replaced. So there's a lot of that already, but I completely agree that who knows what could happen between now and next year when the construction would start. We can add notes that say, all replacement of all signs, faded signs, damaged signs, replacement signs, and we give our contractor, the record plans of approval so they can go in and replace anything like those directional signs that might not be known that they got knocked down to go back in.
And some of those may go back to the original set of approval, so it might go back. I don't know. How long has this store been there? That's a good question. A long time now.
I have plans that go back at least 20 years, but I'm sure it might go longer than that.
1992.
I just, the electronic versions I have were only 20 years old.
Other than that, I have no issue with this. This is, again, I do thank Walmart for trying to improve what is a tough parking area, so thank you.
Mr. Richardson?
Yeah, thank you very much for widening those parking spaces. I think anybody that goes in there has seen a bumper thumper somewhere along the line, and I feel very fortunate that it hasn't happened to me, but you do see them, and I think that'll be a big help. So I have no problem with the new parking plan. I did notice one thing here, and I'm not sure what it's referring to, but on this dated December 27th, it was the second one in the package. All throughout, it talks about the expansion being 3,200 square feet. But on page 4 here, it says an expansion of 6,630 feet. And I don't know what that's referencing.
Yeah, so that must have been, that's a reference to the original application. When we started, we were at 6,300, but then that was when Walmart made the change and switched it now to a 3,200. So it's roughly about half the size that we were originally thinking about when we filed back in December of '23.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I have a couple questions. For 4 years, I kept asking the city planner to check on what the problem was with the landscaping with Walmart, because you let the trees go, trees were dying, trees were growing so much that you had to stick the car halfway out into Walton's Way to see where you're going. And we didn't really get any response from Walmart until all of a sudden they wanted to come in for this renovation a couple years back. Now all of a sudden,
Sure.
they took interest in scaling back the landscaping. So is there going to be a regular maintenance of?
Yeah, so I think part of that
Landscaping.
was that there was no operations and maintenance manual on file, and now we've created one that now is recorded with the city and includes all the maintenance and landscape requirements in there. We also have been in touch with the stormwater maintenance facility that does come out and do a monthly inspection on the basins. They also review the status of landscaping as well. Now, it isn't the local store who handles maintenance, so it's not like the local store manager goes out there and fixes the problem. If they see that trees are dying, if they see that shrubs, it goes to a different maintenance department at Walmart. It basically makes the call to get a service order set up. I think the issue that happened years ago, why it took so long to figure out what was going on, it took a long time for somebody to get to the right channels at Walmart with how do we set up basically a request to get landscaping replaced and audited. So I was aware of that project through the architect because they were already involved before I got involved in this. And I understand that took like 2 years of back and forth and letters and requests. And so, yeah, we are
So has that
aware.
been solved? I guess my question.
I think right now we do, because we have the operation and maintenance manual in place, because Walmart's aware of it, because we've made them on notice that that's going to be continuing to be going on during construction. And now those O&M manuals are also logged with the local store manager so they understand what the obligations are. So when they see something getting, unmaintained or the mulch isn't being kept up, they now have a way to actually go ahead and process that.
Yeah, a lot of these bushes just grew out of,
Yeah.
off the scale and very gnarled and all that, and didn't look like anybody was having any landscaping maintenance done.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Horton?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My comments are going to be consistent with what's already been said, but I agree it's a pretty small addition to the size and scale of the building. I like the improved parking widths. I think, additional to that, we offer overflow parking in the greenhouse area, also potentially in the gas station area. I think, only maybe once a year do I see the parking lot at capacity, during the Christmas months. So
Yeah.
I'm in favor of the project. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thanks.
Other questions from the board?
Regional impact.
Entertain a motion for regional impact?
Make a motion.
Go ahead.
Make a motion that there's no regional impact.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Belmore, seconded by Mr. Witham. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion passes. Entertain a motion for the waiver request.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that section 12.4.a.b regarding vehicle circulation and parking regarding the number of spaces for non-residential developments
Mike?
be granted.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Witham, seconded by Mr. Belmore. Discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed?
Sorry if you didn't catch that. It's my first day in here. I forgot to turn on the mic.
At this time, I'd like to ask Director Mears to review the conditions.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Plan revisions, please include the following notes on the plan. Landscaping shall be maintained in good condition and any dead vegetation shall be replaced within 1 year. Dead vegetation shall be replaced with the same plant material unless written permission from the city planner is received. All parking area lighting shall be equipped with a timer and shall shut off no later than 10 p.m. each day and remain off until the following evening. In the event that the business remains open after 10 p.m., the parking lot lighting shall shut off no later than 1 hour after closing, per the site plan regulations. All plans shall have a note that certifies that all aspects of the development comply with ADA standards. I did add another condition, improve wayfinding road signage on the site. So that was added.
Wayfinding and safety signage.
Safety, okay. Conditions that must be met prior to final approval. The final plan shall bear the stamp and signature of an engineer, licensed land surveyor, and landscape architect. Federal and state permits shall be in place before signing. Conditions to be completed prior to the start of site work. Construction cost estimate for the project shall be submitted. Building plan shall bear the stamp of a certified protection engineer, licensed in New Hampshire, to certify compliance with egress, emergency lighting, smoke, heat, and CO detection systems, fire alarm monitoring and reporting systems, fire suppression system, any other fire protection or related life safety systems required by national or New Hampshire code. A pre-construction meeting is required prior to the start of site work. An escrow account in the amount set by the city's contract engineering agreeable to the Department of Development Services will be established for site construction inspections prior to any site work. A performance surety in the amount agreeable to the Department of Development Services, but no less than 25% of the cost of site construction. The applicant shall apply for a new water and sewer connection permit. The applicant will be required to pay standard water and sewer connection fees on the new properties connected, or the new building connecting to the sewer system. Water fees will be based on the size of water meter needed, and the sewer connection fees will be based on the estimate of water use in equivalent number of bedrooms. Erosion controls shall be installed. Landscaping survival surety, 10% of the total cost of landscaping or a minimum of $500, whichever is greater, shall be held for a period of 2 growing seasons to guarantee the survival of the landscaping installation. All applicants requiring a stormwater management and erosion control plan shall submit relative pollutant accounting information to the Director of Planning and Community Development as required by the Public Works Director. Relevant pollutant tracking information shall be submitted prior to holding the pre-construction meeting. Post-construction pollutant information must be entered at the time as-built are submitted. Conditions applicable during and after construction, there shall be no wetlands degradation. A copy of the completed stormwater inspection and maintenance log shall be provided on or before July 1st, and all landscaping shown on the plan shall be maintained. Any dead or dying vegetation shall be replaced in a timely manner. All outdoor lighting shall be downlit and shielded so no direct light is visible from adjacent properties and roadways. As-built plans are required as part of this project. That's it.
All set. Any questions by the board about the conditions? Mr. Witham?
Yeah, the condition with regard to the parking lot lighting going off after 10 p.m. or 1 hour after closing, is that a current condition at Walmart now, or is that going to have to be an upgrade for them?
I don't think it's a current condition now. Because it was back in 91 that it was originally approved.
Yeah, I don't know if the applicant, if you're good with that or not. As is stated, a lot of things at the store aren't controlled at the store. I don't think there's a switch at the store to turn off the parking lot lights. I think it's done I don't know, it's done in like Nebraska, there's a guy in his bedroom that flips his, I don't know how it happens, but there,
I'm not positive, but I thought they were open 24 hours, back to 24 hours, but I could be wrong.
Sorry, that's what I was just double checking. According to the website, it does say it does close at 10, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what currently happens now today. I don't know if they have, a lot of times with Walmart, there are certain lights that get left on 24/7 for security purposes, but we've definitely made conditions in the past where we've had, like, I'd say the majority of the perimeter parking lot lights closed within 1 hour after, but I don't know for sure if that's what they're doing now. So,
Mr. Berry and Mr. Belmore? You all set, Mr. Witham?
I'm good for right now, I don't know how I.
Mr. Berry?
Thank you. He stole my thunder. I was actually going to bring that up as a condition. I could tell you, when I go outside, when I go out my back on my back door, there is just like an aura coming out from that whole area. And I know none of those lights are downlit and shielded. Okay, so I'm going to make a proposal that any light that is either installed or replaced through this project, and preferably all of them on site, be downlit and shielded. Okay, I didn't see any literature in the packet. Okay, then one other thing I'm also curious about. I heard you say that you're not looking to break ground until 26. Is that right?
yeah, I just heard the update schedule this morning. Originally, we were planning on breaking ground this year, but the Walmart was just concerned about the overall timing, and we still got to go through building department review and approval, so the concern is if they don't get all their approvals in place until say the end of summer, they're not going to want to start this project and then carry it through winter. So now they're just going to push it, and the new schedule has them starting construction like spring of 26.
Understood. Okay, because when I look at the duration of approval, 120 days, right? So is there anything that we can do? Because we already know they're going to have to come back 2 times. Right, is there anything that we can do to help them with their application to let it allow for spring of 26?
If they submit final plans, they won't have to come back within that time frame.
All right, so we just have to submit a final with the notes in the sealed plan within 120 days, and then because I think then once it's
2 years.
I guess finally accepted, is it 2 years you have? Okay, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure that
Appreciate that.
we weren't
Thank
putting them in a hardship right off the bat. Thank you.
Mr. Belmore?
Yeah, in regards to the language for the lights, do they still open starting Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving up until Christmas for 24 hours?
Yeah, so there is still the special hours that happen around the holiday times, yes.
So I don't know if this needs to be modified if we're going forward with any of those light conditions.
I do know that, we talk about the store being built over 20 years ago. The lighting came before the planning board at some point in the journey for an upgrade. They were all replaced with LEDs. I do believe they are all downlit and shielded. They're just on very tall poles, so it does create that aura that, to use the word that you used. I get that it's bright. I think people are aware of that it's bright. I wonder if this condition is just an undue burden on the applicant.
Mr. Rhodes?
I'd argue that it's a burden, but not an undue one. We do know that there's residential property very close to the site. We had at least one person who owns one of those homes here tonight asking if there was going to be further encroachment towards them. And if they're not planning on breaking ground for over a year, I would think that would give them time to figure out how to address the lighting concerns as well.
And I suppose, I hear you, Mr. Rhodes, and I suppose if they determine that there's an issue or they wanted to modify, they could come back in front of us, I suppose, so.
So I don't have a concern with imposing that burden on them, given those conditions that they're operating under.
Any further comments on the conditions? Mr. Belmore?
I just didn't get an answer from the director on whether we need to add a clause or a sentence regarding the holiday season or not. They'll be on 24 hours.
You could add that as a condition on the plan set, or as a condition of approval. I have to go back and look regarding the lighting. There's about 20 applications for Walmart, so it's not something that I can find easily.
Mr. Rhodes?
Given the condition that's on there now is 10 p.m. or 1 hour after closing, if they're open 24 hours, there wouldn't be any need for them to turn them off at that point.
That's a good point.
Any further comments? Does anybody have a site plan motion?
I'll give it a shot, Mr. Chairman. And let me turn on my mic.
Mr. Witham?
Let me find it here. I move that the request of Walmart stores for site plan approval for the building expansion and site improvements as discussed tonight, with the conditions as outlined by the planner this evening and noted in the documentation, be approved.
Motion made by Mr. Witham, second by Mr. Rhodes. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion passes. Site plan is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Next on to new business, item 4B, 200 Main Street LLC is seeking a 60-day extension request of a site plan and conditional use permit approval for a 148-unit residential building with associated parking infrastructure located at 200 Main Street in the Millyard MY District, Assessors Map 09, Lot 282, Site Number 06-2024, and CUP Number 02-2024. Director Mears, anything to add?
Yes, so the applicant is requesting another 60-day extension to finalize the New Hampshire DES alteration of terrain permit. This would allow the applicant until May 17, 2025 to meet the conditions prior to final approval. The AOT permit has been submitted to New Hampshire DES and is under review. I did ask the applicant if they thought they would need more time than that, and they think 60 days is adequate.
Okay. Is anybody here from 200 Main to
No.
the presentation, or we just,
No, they didn't come tonight.
okay. Any comments from the board? Mr. Witham?
Yeah, I think this is a reasonable request, and I'd move that the request of 200 Main Street for the 60-day extension be approved.
Motion made by Mr. Witham, seconded by Mr. Barry. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? The extension is approved. Under new business, item 4C, Mary Spindler, on behalf of Pressed Cafe, is seeking conceptual review for a fast food restaurant and retail use on a property located at 459 High Street in the residential commercial RC district, Assessors Map 40, Lot 60, Site Number 02-2025. Director Mears, anything to add?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is proposing to construct a drive-through restaurant and 2,445 square feet of retail use with associated site improvements. The lot currently has 2 residential units. The property is located in the residential commercial district, and a portion of the lot is located within the Willen Pond watershed. Any development located within the Willen Pond watershed, as depicted on the watershed and wetlands map in Willen Pond, Somersworth, Dover, prepared by Horsley Witten, shall include stormwater practices with a minimum of a 50% total phosphorus removal rate. Due to the location of the site, the property, the board may want to discuss if they would consider this project of regional impact, where it abuts the city of Dover's land and drinking water source. The property uses of retail and fast food restaurant are permitted in the RC district. And the applicant has gone for conceptual review with the SRTC, and they did provide a new layout which depicts some adjustments based off SRTC, which includes an added one-way out egress lane on the left-hand side of the plan for exits for the drive-through lane and parking lot, added sidewalk connectivity, and a bus stop shelter located along the frontage, and relocated the trash enclosures and drive-through lane to avoid conflicts with the water main easement. That's it. This is just for a discussion for the applicant.
At this point, I'll invite Press Cafe to make their presentation.
Great, appreciate it. Greg DeBona with Bowler, speaking here on behalf of Press Cafe. Unfortunately, the owners were not even in the state tonight. They would have loved to be here, but they had prior arrangements. They couldn't make it. Anyway, we are really excited about this project. We think this is going to be a great addition. The owners of Press Cafe are now the owners of this lot. Press Cafe is a restaurant / fast food / quick service type. It's not something that is very easy to compare to other restaurants. It runs and functions as quick and efficient as a Chick-fil-A, but has like the same family feel as like the Olive Garden. So it's a very interesting eating restaurant option. The closest one to here is actually back in Bedford, where I come from, about an hour away. But what's nice about Press Cafe is that, again, they're open all day long. They serve breakfast, they serve lunch, they serve dinner. They have actually a full bar in a lot of their facilities as well. It's a great place for eating with people from work or taking your family. I got young kids. My kids love this place. What's unique about this site is oftentimes the team at Press Cafe is just the restaurant tenant. That's what they've done. They have 10 other locations, and that's what they're known for. Here, this is one of the first projects that they're taking on as really owner developers. So they have another 20,000 square feet that they're proposing in addition to their roughly 6,000 square foot. That's going to be intended to be basically like-minded retail users. Like they really, if you see their menu, they have a lot of gluten-free options, a lot of vegan options. They kind of are trying to bring almost more of a grassroots restaurant feel into what they provide. So what does that mean? Well, they want like service type tenants in their shopping complex with them. They don't have any tenants in line. This is really just a spec development. But what's unique about it in my mind is that most developers that I work for, they would be taking this site and maximizing out as much retail as possible. They would just be going as deep with that box as we could get it so they could maximize their leasable space. Prest has put a lot of thought into this idea of this big open courtyard feel that is going to be created by this building with pickleball courts and outdoor seating and patio space and kind of like creating more of this workshop living environment that they're trying to promote in this mini center that happens to be right next to the dollar store and right next to a vacant gas station. But they're in favor of all the pedestrian connectivities. That was some of the feedback we got from last week's technical review meeting. We added more sidewalk, we added a bus stop, we added tie-ins into the center. Just really kind of excited about what we think this is going to turn into. We were also, very cognizant about things like buffers, setback regulations. We are meeting the setbacks from the parking on the sides and the front and the rear for the residential. We comply with the parking in this layout. So, basically kind of coming in with really what should be an as of right project. And again, I think large part of it is, they want to make a center that really works for their use, that supplies adequate space for the drive-through operation and the drive-through queue and adequate parking and then the added benefit of having some more retail that they feel would benefit their shopping users and like type use. That's what they're excited to create here. So, obviously it's just conceptual at this point. But we are planning on moving quick. We have kind of all of our due diligence done. We have surveys, we have geotech, we have environmental information. We've also worked on this site in the past. We've worked on this back when it was a car wash a year or two back. So we understand some of the challenges, some of the concerns about the drinking water impacts, and we feel really confident with our stormwater management approach that we're going to be able to meet those conditions. We've already actually reached out to Dover as well this week to let them know where we're coming in and make sure we're understanding the impacts to groundwater, impacts to the drinking water. So that's going to continue on. Yeah, so at this point, I think mainly we're just looking to see some initial thoughts and feedback, and also if there's any concerns with what we're proposing, and like to be able to come in and provide a project that everybody is excited about. So that's it.
Ask before you do that, ask a question. Yeah. Are you going to walk us through this a little bit?
Oh, sure, yeah. Sorry, I should describe a little bit of what's going on the site. So the kind of odd-shaped, almost like rotated C-shaped building is right in the middle of the site. That's that dark gray hatch. Right in front of it's that big courtyard space that I was referring to, which is anchored by a sitting area and 2 pickleball courts. And then has a larger patio area that would be right off the kind of Eden patio that's part of the press building. The press building is the tenant space that's on the far left of the plan. It aligns with where that pickup window would be for the drive-through. So basically, when you're coming into the site, the main parking field is all two-way travel with traditional 90 degrees parking. But you do have a right-in access and then also a right-out access on both the right and the left-hand side of the frontage on High Street. The main intent of there is so that when most people would be ideally coming in for the drive-through use, you kind of have a more direct travel path to get right to the back of the building, where around the back of the building is where the order board sign is going to be, and then that's what will start your queue for the drive-through pickup operation. There's a full bypass lane that wraps the entire length around the building. We also have angled spaces that once you get to that first corner of the other retail, which again would be some future tenant, then it goes to angled parking so that it really promotes that whole one-way circulation counterclockwise around the site and around the building. You have one centralized new access point, which aligns with the shopping center across the street, across on High Street. So we're proposing 1 entry drive in the center and then 2 exit lanes. And then, let's see, like I said, we have, I think it was 151 parking spaces, which was met the requirement by code. We are proposing 6 EV charging stations and three dumpster enclosures in the back left corner, and then 1 dumpster enclosure in the far right corner. Also 1 loading dock, like not loading dock, but loading zone that would take place around that first corner as you go around to the back of the building. And for those who aren't really familiar with the back of the site, it's just a giant wooded lot that then basically abuts the reservoir. So, you know, we're not expecting any really future development of any kind that was going to be back there, but we're still providing that 35-foot residential buffer to it and keeping all of our pavement and site improvements outside of it. There is also the larger, there's a water main, 16-inch water main in the easement that runs through the site, and we're preserving all of that. So we don't encroach on that by the building or any of our site features. We will have pavement over it, but nothing else besides that. That's all I got for right now.
Any other questions from the board? Mr. Witham?
I don't think questions, just comments. I like the creative use of the site for a retail establishment. You know, it's not just a linear box, rectangle. I think it fits the site nicely. Compared to some other uses that could be there, I think is less intense. I think it's less intense than the car wash that was originally proposed. I like the idea of the courtyard space. That I think that can be creatively used. I've seen some other establishments where they put, tables with like a fire pit for outdoor dining or gathering. I could envision it being used that way. I think it kind of, the shape of the structure creates sort of this isolation, if you will. Thank you for remembering that we wanted the entry and exit drive aligned with the one across the street. And I do like the one way in, one way out. I think that's ideal, particularly in the morning, grab a cup of coffee, a breakfast sandwich, something like that. I could see myself using it for that. So I like the idea of the bus shelter pull-off area that sort of mirrors what's across the street. I like the sidewalk connectivity. As I'm sure the traffic counts on High Street are very, very high, as are our pedestrian counts. The pedestrian traffic on High Street is significant, and I can see that being used by pedestrians that are walking by, stop for a cup of coffee or a sandwich at lunch or what have you. So, absent some details here, I kind of like the use of the site. Thank you.
Mr. Belmore, then Mr. Richardson.
Yeah, I would just encourage you, before we put a bus stop sign there, that you reach out to Coast. They've been in a funding struggle, and they've also eliminated some of our stops, so I don't know if they're willing to add one or not.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We so I should have mentioned we do have Jeff Dirk with Vanas and Associates as our traffic consultant on this project. So Jeff has this plan now, and he's currently coordinating with Coast to entertain if they want that or not. We'd love to have it, but I understand it's up to their control if we get the bus stop or not.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I noticed in the SRT report, and I'm glad to see that it was corrected, the dumpster issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first saw that, before I read the SRT report, I was looking at it going, that's not going to work. I mean, there's the three on the left side and the one up in the corner there that I looked at all of them. I said, there's just not enough turning radius there to get there because, so I was appreciative of Dana's comments in the SRTC and that got changed, so that's cool. On the exit, the right-hand turn exit, we've had other establishments up on High Street where they've had one way or another turn exits, and it doesn't matter, people come in there and they turn the other way.
Okay.
And so I would recommend very much so signage for, no left-hand turn and make it large.
Yeah.
They can't miss it, whatever. Because that's not a good place to be making a left-hand turn, but people have done it. We've seen it before, and we've had to fix things like that. So that would be a recommendation. The last question I have is, how does the pickleball courts fit into this? I mean, is it for anybody, or is it for people using the restaurant, or I don't get it.
Yeah,
So,
it's
to be honest with you.
the short answer. The owner loves pickleball. He's just a complete pickleball fanatic, and they travel to Florida a lot, and that pickleball has become a very popular integration in Florida and into shopping centers. And when they go and visit, they love that idea, and they think, why not? Why not bring it to New Hampshire? So that's the only reason for it. It will be basically an extension of the Press Cafe's patio, though.
Okay.
It won't be open to the public. You won't be able to access it unless you go in through the restaurant first. So that's how we're going to control it, because police had the very similar comment about security and access and control of lighting and all that. So I don't have the details for it yet, but we are contemplating a nice way to make it look attractive. I mean, this is going to be right in the middle of their store frontage, right? I mean, most retailers would never put something like this that would block their storefront. So they are cognizant about how do they incorporate this look and make it still look nice like the restaurant. And which also, by the way, I know I don't have any preliminary renderings yet of the restaurant, but this is a very high-end restaurant. Like, this restaurant looks new and modern and clean, and it's like, I mean, they have the ones down in the Tuscan Village, and the one in Bedford is really impressive looking. I mean, really high end, and I've confirmed with the owner that they plan on making that same look not just for them. It's going to be the whole center is going to have that, that basically higher quality of material and color and glass and, you know, right now they're projecting kind of more of a flat, more modern roof line, but it's very nice looking with, you know, I said, well, the next time I'm here, we'll have nice 3D renderings and elevations, but I've seen the architect's initial preliminary stuff, and it looks nice. It looks like a courtyard we'd all want to actually socialize and hang out in.
That's good, because my concern was that you would have people just parking wherever they want to and walking up there and really have, their only purpose there would be to play pickleball, and that's not, if you're a restaurant and all that's going, you gotta love them both, you know, so you come in and you do one and you do the other, and that's great, but just to have people just dropping by was kind of, so I'm good.
Okay, Mr. Rose, then Mr. Horton, then Mr. Berry.
So I'll get the one caution that I have with this out of the way, which I think you're probably getting a feel of, and you're already addressing. That's that it is likely to be voted as a regional impact project. Given the proximity to Willen Pond, the fact that it's a landlocked pond, so there's no outlet to it, that it's part of the Dover drinking water supply, and that we have a water interconnect with Dover for it, it's almost certainly going to get pushed that way. That said, it sounds like you're already dealing with that, so that's very good to hear. Everything else I'm going to say is going to be various points of praise for the project. I'm familiar with Prest. I've spent a fair amount of time down in Burlington where they have one. The fact that we have this project being proposed in Somersworth, I think, is strongly indicative of some of the demographic and cultural shifts we've seen in this town in the past 15 to 20 years. And I'm very glad to see it. Looking at the plan, there's a lot of thought going in here. Traffic flow directs people to the two entrance points to the restaurant, to the other businesses that are likely to join them in the plaza for the uses that they're going to have for it. The placement of the dumpsters and the order boards behind it reduces the garishness that even a higher end drive-through can have. So it creates a more higher end appearance for the site. The fact that you're attempting with this to create a third place when so many restaurants and business owners are doing their absolute best to obliterate third places, I'm looking at Starbucks here, and it was a particular example of that, speaks very highly to the intent of the applicant, as well as the impact that this could have on the community as a whole. There's a lot here that just looks absolutely fantastic. I think it's indicative of where the community is headed, and it's a first piece that I think shows where we'll be in another 15 to 20 years. Everything that I think you need to address, you've already got in motion. I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Appreciate it. Thank
Mr.
you.
Horton.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, the site has great layout, a lot of thought put into traffic flow. I think it's an exciting project. Looking to see, you know, additional details. I think one of them being, you know, your drainage analysis and all that. I was kind of on the fence about regional impact. Certainly, if this was a gas station, I would say for sure. But you know, there's certainly more discussion there to be had. You should be proactive, though, as you said, and reaching out to them as well. But I think it's a great fit for the area, for the city, and looking forward to it.
Mr. Berry.
Yeah. One thing that I love about this project, one thing I appreciate is when people dream big, right? They have a vision, right? I love the idea that they do what they do, but they want to create a community. They want to create an experience. That's what I see. So obviously I can go out and get dinner, but I'm curious what's going to happen in all those other shops. You know, there could be some sort of synergy that could be something really special and unique to our community. I'm very excited to see how that plays out. As far as the site design, this is very clever. I think what you guys have done here is wonderful. I want to find something wrong with it. I can't. I can't. Really beautiful. I mean, the fact that it's awkward shaped too. I mean, you've really made it work. It almost, to me, it almost feels like the drive-through is an afterthought. You know, it's like you're there for a restaurant, and it's, you know, you go to a McDonald's, you go to a Wendy's, it's got a drive-through. Like it's obvious. But here, it's like it has it, but is it really what you're there for? I don't know. I love the idea. You know, like Mr. Richardson, I did scratch my head over the pickleball. I say, gee, you know, normally I would say, how does that fit? Different strokes for different folks, no pun intended. But you know, The only thing I'd worry about, which goes right off the table, would be sound. But as there are no neighbors nearby, that's not an issue either. You're going to do, for stormwater, you're going to do everything infill, 100%?
Yeah, so right now I do have a conceptual grading drainage plan that we've put together. We're believing that we're going to need 3 underground infiltration basins to compensate. The site is extremely flat, which is usually great. The challenge we have is actually everything drains to the center of the site today. It just kind of sits in ponds in the middle of that yard that's out there. So there's not a lot of off-site runoff. So when we're trying to match that and match those flows, we're hoping that we're going to get a lot of good infiltration. Now, we do have additional test pits being scheduled right now. That will probably happen in the next 2 weeks. The initial geotech data, which we have a lot of over the past couple of years because of the various different car wash projects, didn't find groundwater, like even when they were going down 20 feet. So that makes me feel really good. I'll know more once we actually do the test pits. But that's hopeful that we'll be able to get some good infiltration and be able to keep it all in sight.
Good. Well, I'm going to be looking for those, so
Yeah.
watch out. Yeah, but I love the idea of 100% infiltration. That's fantastic. I know they're very expensive to do, but boy, do they look great.
Yeah, and that's when we talked about this with press, we explained to them, like, we could go the above ground method, which they're doing on one of their other sites, but we're choosing to keep it all underground, so it's going to be kind of out of sight, and it's not going to impact that really large landscape buffer that we're going to have along the perimeters and in the back, and the landscaping we're going to propose in the front. And we've already got our whole team of landscape architects working on this now and getting specifics about that courtyard design and tying it all through the whole shopping center. So it's going to be really nice. It's nice to work for a client like this that, again, they're in it because they believe that they're going to bring a really great product. They're not really in it from we're trying to drive up retail revenue and all that. Like, even when you look at these spaces, these are going to be small tenant shops. These are going to be the person out there looking for 1,200 to 1,500 square feet for a small mom and pop type business that just needs a storefront and doesn't want to be on Amazon. You know, I mean, that's what's going to be in this center, and it's going to be a lot of hopefully like-minded folks that will work with these owners. So should be good.
Excellent. You know, and I just got to reinforce, I'm a big fan of community and synergy. You know, and having like-minded businesses working together, because it would be really great to go to, say, you go to dinner, then you can go to a bar right next door. You know, maybe there's something entertainment in the middle. I'm excited to see what you guys come back with, and hopefully, before you come back to us, maybe you'll have some potential tenants that might be interested in moving in and being a part of this concept that you're working on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Witham.
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on the comments that some board members have made about the demographics of our community, and I do sense a significant shift that's underway in a positive way. And to use the word synergy, you know, I was thinking as others were talking, just around the corner is the New England Sports Hub, the Sports Dome. And I'm sure fellow board members have driven by there. At almost any given hour, the parking lot is full. There are weekend tournaments where mom and dad and the kids are there for an 8 or 9 a.m. game, and then their next game is at 2 in the afternoon. Where are we going to grab lunch? Mom and dad might want an adult beverage. Oh, we can play some pickleball and kill some time while we wait. I mean, that's the synergy thing that I think is happening here. So again, just wanted to chime in on that. I appreciate the manager's comment with regard to Coast Bus. I think as one board member, even if Coast couldn't afford the shelter and isn't likely to put a stop there immediately, I like the idea of at least doing the infrastructure for the pull-off of High Street. We're going to get one whack at that pinata. Let's be forward-leaning on that because things change. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Now, the alternates can also comment.
I do have questions, but it comes to the building. But I have to look more into of the laws or regulations. No position.
Sure.
Any other comments from the board? All right, thank you. Mr. Gilmet?
Oh, I think it'd be a welcome addition to that part of town. Area's wide open right there, you know, building in there, attract some people.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Director Mayor, any new business that may come before the board?
None this evening, Mr. Chairman?
Next, we'll go into workshop business. 5A, Chapter 19 Zoning Ordinance Amendment, new Section 34, Home-Based Childcare. Director Mears.
Yes, so at the January 15th Planning Board meeting, the board requested that staff include conditional use permit for the more intense home-based childcare use and provide more information on allowable conditions of approval. Staff, Dana, actually reached out to New Hampshire Municipal Association legal inquiries to get an opinion regarding attaching conditions to the conditional use permit, and Stephen Buckley from NHMA provided a response. It's included in your packet. Based on the feedback from NHMA, it is not recommended to include conditions of approval to the conditional use permit for home-based childcare uses. And in addition, staff reached out regarding another question that a planning board member had. NHMA legal inquiries with additional questions related to permits and further site plan clarifications. Stephen Buckley provided a response to this inquiry, and that's attached. Based on the response from Attorney Buckley, the proposed language has been revised to require the applicant shall submit to the city that all requirements for such programs and adopted rules of New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services are met for the license to operate a family child care or group family child care. As required by DHHS, a copy of the renewed license shall be provided to the city so long as the care operation exists. Staff has provided 2 proposals in the packet for the board's review and consideration. After receiving the legal opinion from NHMA, staff recommends the draft language as proposed in option 1. Staff has provided, at the request of the board, language that includes a conditional use permit in option 2. Option 1 is the ordinance without a requirement to be granted a CUP. Applicants would need to only provide proof that they have met the Department of Health and Human Services requirements for initial granting of the license and when the license is required to be renewed. The second one is revisions that include the requirement for conditional use permit for a group family child care center, which includes the following revisions. A conditional use permit shall be required to operate a group family child care center. The location of pickup and drop-off was removed based on an NHMA opinion, and a conditional use permit granted by the planning board to operate a group child care center. There is a revision under conditional use permit, which is exceptions, and that has to do with home-based child care operations requiring a conditional use permit shall not be subject to local site plan review in any zone where a primary residential use is permitted. Both proposals include a revision to Section 8, home occupations, removing the following language from this section of the ordinance where the home-based child care is proposed to not be connected or regulated by the home occupation ordinance, hours of operations. If the planning board supported one of these proposals, the changes would be recommended to City Council.
Mr. Witham.
Yeah, so for clarity, staff is suggesting that we more strongly consider the one with the blue highlight, which begins with 1. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I appreciate the staff reach out. Again, I flagged this at our last meeting for a little pause to get those opinions. My concern was, depending upon the size of a home-based child care facility and depending upon the street on which it's on, that you could have parking and issues related to traffic. As I understand it, we cannot regulate that, though, based upon state law. That being said, at least through site plan regulations, The city does have a traffic safety committee, and I suppose that the city council, through action, could post a street as one-way, could make a street no parking on one side, both sides, or something to that effect. So we're not totally out of control there, but we just can't have it as part of this. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Mr. Rhodes?
Couple of comments on this. So I'm not a lawyer, but I work with an awful lot of them, and I don't think I've ever seen a lawyer quite so clearly say you can certainly try with a note there. The question that I do want to ask here and make sure that we're not repeating a situation that we saw earlier this week with a dog leash law. Are we 100% certain this is not a, wait a minute, you're a city, you can issue?
I am certain that
Okay,
there's no different regulations between city and town.
okay, because there are on some things, just wanted to make sure.
It will go to review for legal as well.
Any other comments from the board? Mr. Horton?
I was just reading the opinion of the attorney again. I don't know if it'd be worth reading it into the record, but I think I'd be in favor of the lesser restrictive of the two, kind of in accordance with his opinion. So that leans me towards the number one, item 1 draft.
Mr. Witham?
Yeah, same here. I'd be leaning in that direction. And to be clear, I understand the difficulties with families accessing childcare, never mind affordable childcare. And I understand that that is probably the impetus behind this, is to spur the availability of more childcare, to lessen restriction around that. So I get that fully. Again, my concern was just rather pragmatic, but I think we can manage that in other ways if ever it needs to be managed. And again, it's going to be very case by case. So again, I'll support the first one without the CUP. I think it's just simpler, cleaner. Why complicate this?
Mr. Barton?
As someone who works in the industry that's arguably the most regulated and licensed in the country, which is financial services and specifically advisory, I understand how onerous licensing, the application process, and the expense can be. So I just also wanted to voice my support for the less restrictive version 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Anything need to be done with this particular item?
Yeah.
Mr. Horton?
I'll make a motion that we submit the revised Section 34 home-based childcare to council for review and approval.
Motion made by Mr. Horton, second by Mr. Gilmet. Discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion passes.
I'd be happy to sponsor.
Thank you.
Workshop business item 5B, Chapter 19 zoning ordinance amendment, Section 3, lots split by zoning. Director Mears.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are some revisions to this. The board provided feedback at the February meeting, requesting that staff provide examples of how other communities address lots that are split by zone. We did send you some information from Rochester, Dover, Portsmouth, Durham, and Concord in the packet. The proposed language for Section 19.3E, lot split by zoning district boundaries, was updated to specify the commercial industrial district, and it also added that automobile uses would not be permitted to cross zoning district boundaries. Staff did think about that afterwards, so we added that language in because we know that that's the use that we have the most compliance issues with. If planning board supports these proposed zoning changes, it would recommend the changes to city council.
Comments by the board. Mr. Witham.
I guess a question. So we're focusing on the commercial industrial zoning district, which is largely the Route 108 corridor, which has a fair amount of these bifurcated lots. They do exist elsewhere in the city. You know, the High Street corridor has them as well, but we are focusing on that area. I do like the idea of the language regarding automobile uses, because you're right, that tends to be one of our more problematic tenants, if you will, just from a code compliance perspective. So I think that seems reasonable out of the gate.
Yeah, comments from the board? Mr. Horton?
I'll just make a brief comment. I appreciate staff's work on this. You know, they reviewed surrounding communities zoning for similar language, and I think it kind of falls in line with what's out there existing with other communities as well.
Yeah, comments from the board? Any action at this time?
If we could have a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend, excuse me, let me get there. Section 19, the zoning ordinance amendment of section 3 for lot split by zoning be recommended to council for review and approval.
Motion made by Mr. Horton, seconded by Mr. Rhodes. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion passes. Communications and miscellaneous. I'd like to welcome the new member of our planning board, sorry, Mr. Splain.
Welcome.
Yeah.
I just bought a house like a couple months ago, so I moved. Was away from fall of November. As a background, I master's in architecture. I'm from Albania, which is in Europe. So I moved in the USA like 7 years ago. Lived in Boston, moved in Portsmouth, and I found myself best in Somersworth to make it home. So here I am.
Thank you. Welcome again. Anybody else has any communications or miscellaneous? Ms. McNair?
Hi. I don't talk much yet. Yet. Mr. Witham knows very well how much I talk. So I just wanted to say welcome as one of the newer members of the board, but also that beautiful sports hub we were talking about, there's a party there next week. There's an open house. The chamber is having an open house there, and of course you're all invited. So Michelle has details, and so does Mr. Witham, I think. It's on Thursday from 5 to 7 at the Sports Hub. And there's also a legislative function on Monday in Dover at Bruckner. So just letting everybody know they're invited.
Thank you.
Follow up, I was just looking to see if where the community can go to get more information on those things.
That's a good question. We're working on the website right now because we're getting some new technology for the website, but I'm also putting it out on all the socials, so they can find us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram at somersworthchamber.org. The website is there and it's functioning sort of, but the events aren't up yet. And I have been posting them all over the place on socials while we're kind of in that interim, I'm hoping by next week, thing. But thank you. Good question.
Any other comment?
And as of tonight,
Mr.
being
Wood?
advertised on Channel 22 as well, so there you go.
Nice.
Any other comments? Director Mears?
Yes, just have a quick update. I have mentioned to you guys that we are updating the site plan regulations. We are working with the Site Review Technical Committee group to review the utilities, or we're adding more sections to the site plan regulations. Utilities, parking, snow storage, solid waste, street addressing, hazardous materials, salt storage, integrated pest management, water system, sewage system, stormwater regulations, post-construction, stormwater management, and construction practices. So that will be coming in May. We may need a special meeting, unfortunately, but I just want to let you know that, depending on how many applications we have. And there was some public comment at the city council regarding detached accessory dwelling units. We had a member of the public come out and ask for a change to it to 1,000 square foot accessory dwelling unit, just so the board is aware. And I think it's 800.
800.
There was at least chit-chat amongst counselors of maybe an amendment to the language that's coming in front of us for second reading.
Any other communications or miscellaneous? Anybody have a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Mr. Belmore, second by Ms. McNair. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Thank you very much.